Hi there everybody, my name is Kate and welcome to my channel, Firehorse Academy 88. Welcome and thank you for joining me. Recently changed the name of the channel. If you happen to have been here during the days of Trinergy Awakens Naturally, we're resurrecting a few times and finding new identities after I fry down to the ground. So hence for here we are with the Firehorse Academy. But anyway, I wanted to say something that before I could even start this video, 1,000 things got in the way, 1,000 stupid things happened, and here I am in my bedroom floor looking at my window instead of where I usually am for various reasons why. And yeah, every time I sat down, because this has been the opposition all weekend long. Now, truth is timeless, and this is so very much a very relevant and timed message, quite urgent for me. I wish I had known. Yeah, I did, because I pay real close attention to this stuff, and the other folks around me that didn't, they seem to be feeling a little spooky and weird about it, and I'm spooked and weird, and I expected what I got. However, the intensity, the overwhelm, the what the hell was that, what happened here of some epic proportion for a woman who works in the dark a lot and removes things. That was somebody that thing was something that impressive for whoever's sending it. You got some real shit that looks very frightening and really does have a good game, and it talks some smack, but it also has some moves. So that's why I'm talking to you, is before we get to the cannibal stuff, the funniest thing just occurred to me, that when you post your dreams on the timeline with people who do some stuff, sometime, someday, somewhere, and somehow, you're going to follow them in a mystery of all your karma, of how you're going to resolve all the questions you have about life. If you wake up one day when a cannibal CME comes through and tears a hole right through your life again, and you realize, oh my goodness, I need to make a few cuts, friend. I've got to go here and do this. I need to do this. I need to do this, and burn off my contact list one more time with a contract that's not going to happen. So no problem. It's just that people that live in the sums are very ill-defined unless they're on a very temporary space in their mind. It's very rarely that I tell someone someday. I will tell them someday in the future, please contact me somewhere around May or, the year 2033. Whatever. And if it's really something I'm not going to be, I've turned down gigs because, look, this is not a good time for me to try to wrap you into my world about how I could possibly, co-share some real low budget class that's not really going to get attended too much. I really haven't got time for that. I'm moving in some other directions that need to move faster because I'm over here wasting my time with that. And that was the revelation with placing my heart, my soul, etc. on any contract I put out. And I mean absolutely independent contract as the skill that I do here. I ain't talking that other stuff, because that's what brought shit to my house successfully. Truthfully, whoever's doing that, man, you made it. However, you didn't get in and out, same. And I certainly didn't leave with that shit, nor did I let any of it stay in my house. I cleansed my house out and got rid of another round of everything that had ever looked like something or touched by something or whatever, that I just went around my house and felt everything. Most of it I knew exactly what it was and where it was going, into the box that was leaving, and some of it going direct trash, because every move we make is to be so conscious right now that the battle that's going is leaping around looking for new hosts to get busy with some extra action, because we have a lot of our most, traumatic shit happening on the planet. Even those light workers like me ought to be real terrified with that boogaboo, coming in and say, hey, I'm gonna get you if you don't stop that shit you're saying, if you don't stop that shit you're doing and making any footwork happen over in this particular thing you're trying to move over in this direction that you already had a high index of suspicion for and knew it was going right out the door. You were just waiting on the timing of, why am I still here? Oh, just give it another day or two. I kept hearing that, and that was like a month or two, or a month ago. And so it's here. Well, sometimes you need the mystery to be all the way out in outer space and some very strange sounding stuff that CME, I can't tell you how my throat seized into just like and my stomach immediately just, I'm not sure what the feeling was. I don't know that I've ever had it. It was like some Harry Potter right to where my belly button would have used to be if I still had one after a bazillion and one, anatomy lessons on my body for learning students in a medical school. Got a lot of good practice on this torso. Anyway, though, it was intense. So if we're not mindful in every bit of every every decision we make, with every step we take. There are no casual decisions. And so this morning I canceled everything that I had planned. I don't have those plans anymore because that's just not happening. It's not my priority for today. I took my dog on my walk that we have started doing here because I was spending a lot of time working on several contracts at once, that it occurred to me I need to narrow down and start really, working through to find out where I need to put my focus, because I've obviously been narrowed out of one of them through a federal job cut thing that just swiped my job to something. I'm not going to be insulted like that. You can have that shit and take it back, because the universe is giving me a big old giant message of, you are going to get insulted with bullshit just like this and worse, because you're in the wrong place. And the more you shine in a wrong place where you're still standing, when you start glowing the hell up, you're blowing it up around you. And unless you're a divine disruptor, you're going to not know that and be possibly 555 really pissy and wondering, what's wrong with me? You probably had some demon running around your house all night trying to figure out if it could get in a little hatch somewhere. And your salt and all that stuff, it might work. However, if you think you know it, whatever these things are, whether you call them demons or not, I actually call them attachments, because they're like freaking horrible little files get attached to a system that has nothing to do with that poor little phone, just broke and stupid, just droning home, going, where do I go? Where my operating system that's already pre-programmed in viral content overload by birth from now has been updated on the viral content load, the malware, far more than anything in your creative hatch, because that's gone, being consumed. What part would have been used for the kindest and most gentle, if it never gets plugged up to the heart that can pump in some reality to it, to get there with that hard-ass stuff that we're doing out here in crunch world, making stuff happen, because we're just, doers and takers and doers and bringers and givers, and we make shit happen because we're fair, and we're nowhere near that. Like, we make sure we have the lion's share for the people that we think are lions, and everyone isn't a cub, everyone isn't a live, and no one deserves food because we ate what we need. And you things that eat grass, well, we eat you, so we must be part of this system somehow. So I'm just wondering, in some day, some land, do y'all feast on people? And I'd say that yes, they do. They feast on the hopes and the dreams and the malware of hooking up with bad phones that will help you share bad information, get you stuck and be doing the same duck walk about 20 years later, wondering, or 30 years later on your deathbed, perhaps getting the whisper in your ear, did you want to dump that load of demons here? You want to take that with you and try this shit again in a rotating axis you do not have to keep spinning around? Should you choose to actually get real with some stuff that feels uncomfortable, because nobody wants to talk about some thought of, I don't believe in demons. Cool, I don't either believe in demons as a thing that's portrayed as something that's gonna come in here and get somewhere with it. They teach it on television, and yes, I didn't say they show it. I said they teach it, they indoctrinate it, and they subliminally just keep messaging every bit of that little content, which, don't worry, I'm not telling you something is not true. I'm just telling you, and if there's any suspicion that people like me are doing that to you, then I'd run away, because I'm not. However, if you think I am, you just thinking it will be enough to buy into the program that's telling you to be highly suspicious of everyone, especially somebody who's telling you how easy it is to just go inside of you, because inside of you looks like a prison full of parasitic vermin and cell cells of just, what is that? And then it'll start looking like a whole lot of family members if you stand in there too long, or a whole lot of people you kind of thought you should respect. That's where should lives. Should live next right there in the little cubby town of Otta of someday. It all lives in somewhere, in some place that you'll never find to go race it down and chase it down and actually finger it and put it on the wall because it's jellowing away. No, it runs just as fast. It leaks just as fast, and it lickety splits just as fast. You ever notice that shit? It's because it's not that person, it's the energy, whether the person above them knows. If you're 90% your attachment, your bad file, you're speaking everything that little thingy puts the filter through. And no, you might not go in, with your head spinning. You don't have to. You can stall someone, you can slow down on a phone call, you can make sure you just don't take that trash out, I'm just lazy, or she's so this, or you can, maybe not call for 3 days, or have someone in your life just disappear and not wonder why until about 3 years later when that person goes, wow, glad to know I meant so much to you, or, just anything where that's happening, that's the little program reminding somebody with a little malware bump. When you're programmed to something and it's activated from outside of you and you ain't even on your phone, you're just the case and the whatever, but you're not the finger that's doing this. You need to be your own finger because you don't want it fingering where it's fingering and putting apps where it's already shoved them. Placed them. Taught them. And then gave you as the options of all that are available. I'm going to need to give you back your device and your whole package of all prepackaged apps that are made just for me. And I'm going to go ahead and create my own device and my casing. Well, I'll go with the one I was given. Thank you, because it's quite unique and already ultra specifically designed just for me. So I'll love on it, make my modifications as I need to aesthetically remove a few things. However, even if they never, I'll take the case I have, thank you. Reprogram that software shit. It was a real need of an update. It was in some archaic things that really think archonically and archetypally, that are quite easily seen in those realms where you can see that. It's almost laughable. However, when it comes in with lots of help, firepower that it thinks it's going to have, you have to really stand fast in some faith in that. And I'm going to encourage everybody that hears me within and everywhere, not just somewhere. Oh, hell no. I want you to, everybody, everywhere, hear me now. There ain't anything that's going to visit you in your face or in space somewhere that has the permission to terrify you that much that you will yield and succumb. And I know that's hard, because when we get here in public with the people, that's a little bit harder to hold down. But I'll tell you what, I don't want to take anything right in the face and be gone in a matter of seconds. However, living at the thumb rule, not leaving my house because I'm afraid of what's out there, that's going to need to be navigated a different way. If it's that kind of a safety risk, I need to be working on why I'm inside where I am in a combat zone, not able to leave because I'm imprisoned by the system that placed me here, first of all, to believe that's what I was worth, and then keeps taking away anything that would strip me of my value of believing that I deserve anything more. Yeah, go on ahead and catch the drift that you sit there long enough and wonder, well, I couldn't possibly. If you saw me 15 years ago, 10 years ago, and even, my goodie, golly, that was a horrible time years ago and yesterday. Or any other day when I human just like the rest of the world. It's just that I get my shit back up. And even if I have to throw up as I'm doing it, crawl and give this moronic, ill stuff the finger as I do and shout a big old, hey you, love and light right up in there. And when you do, make sure you got it right, that, oh no, this is a love and light thing, because I share it equally that, no, I'm not here for this. You're going to shut the hell right up. And I send it out as a broadcast, period. That you can scream all night, and you know what? I scream louder. I have a nice good reason to scream right here with you in my face, bringing me some karma that I need to dig up again somewhere in me, that I got stuck in a place wondering, how will I ever leave? It's a combat zone out there. Well, deal with the combat zone that's actively keeping your ass right at home in this neighborhood where you can't feel free. 1313, that worked for me. Thank you. Like the bars? Because I'm feeling much better about myself, that I'm not about, I'll cut a whole contract, and I have no idea, because my federally funded bullshit contract that was finally over, I knew that was coming in. It was a matter of how ill-timed it was, it seemed, and yet what a freaking hilarity that was going to happen. Just, I was going to give a little more than 2 days notice. However, my job didn't feel that was necessary for me, so it is no longer my job, though they'll be notified when I'm ready for that to happen. So until then, coming back and asking, so are you scheduling with this person that we just cut your hours 2 days before the next time you were going to see it? The answer was, in space. Yeah, tell that face, no thank you. I'll let you know when I'm done with whatever it is got a hold of you, so that you might have a better answer when you come back at me and I put my notice in and tell you why, friend. So it has more to do than just with the federal government. It has to do with you personally and how it's going to roll, because I've seen some stuff in outer space, that told me you're coming with something weird through some more venue to try to make me feel really ashamed, ugly, gross, and nasty about myself. And I politely ask that stuff, not so politely if it doesn't leave the first time. We get into action quick right now. Blu-ray kind of stuff that starts moving things around. That's not to hurt anyone. It's simply to put out the broadcast of, get on out. I don't serve this stuff here, and I sure as hell don't take it here. And whatever it is, clear it out, because the feminine energy right now that's dogging around in a whole bunch masculine stuff, confusing people, got a lot of bitches real angry and looking real hot and bothered in places where I wasn't sure I was seeing that, yet you were seeing exactly what you need to see, sir. Run. Run, Molly, run. Or anyone else, because when I saw those eyeballs, I didn't run fast enough, and I still caught hellfire on my back, and a few third-degree burns went right up my butt crack until I said, oh no, I'm not messing with that, what that feels like. And the minute I said that on the last run, which was a real painful one, because they left behind, wow, that's a couple that I really just didn't want to have to sever the cord. However, we're not talking about things that are this day old, people. We're talking about things that today started millions, thousands, hundreds, however many, nothing important somewhere in time. You'd like to put that, because where it was in time is irrelevant, because we might as well be back to that time when someone, something, somewhere, in some place of some mysterious, not really a mystery, let's get with it and understand that, as weird as it is, if we can possibly discuss the disclosure thing, how about we discuss disclosure is not waiting for your alien buddy to land on a ship to take you anywhere. They're not doing that, and they hardly look like our really nerdy dork-ass vision of what we think aliens are. We also call brown people from out of town alien, and I think that's quite interesting and also very telling, a tale of just everything that you need to know as far as I'm concerned. But hey, let's go on. So the grain thing and all of that, your consciousness will come and visit you in any shape, form, or idiocy you'd like it to, in red hats and all kinds of goofy things, saying all kinds of goofy things, and when the program triggers you because you're invested in it that far, playing the game that way so well, looking terrible, quite a number more than they're looking really great at it, and those that are looking great at it, they're not looking so great. So those people that you used to think looked really great, and they still do, give them about another year and make sure they're still there, and then you can hang on to the idea that they might be respectable again. Until then, I'd start letting go of everything and then rebuild with what you think is important after about another, 7/7. After the June 6th, the 6/6, that was fire on a CME, a cannibal CME ripped off, landed, came, and somewhere around today, on the 8th, it ripped off on the 6th, I think, came and landed today, the 8th. And next month, the 7/7, but there's going to be a lot more very different about you and me. And if there's not, and you're listening to me, please make changes immediately, because these are fire-ass energies working in a fire horse year to do a lot of really good stuff to clear out karma. And the last thing that we need to be doing is to be caught in some dumb, stupid battle because we got caught up in somebody's illusion with them and then became a partner in the crime or the partner in the battle to get ourselves away from them, not a part of getting them away from that somewhere thing. It lives in somewhere, because the minute you go spooking around in space looking for some of these people in their face, it turns into animals and snarling beasts in a minute. No shit. Learned how to do that. Sneak up on something in a back room somewhere. It's not expecting you. Hi. Who are you? Oh, you're a snarling beast. Well, when you start up being caught unawares and you weren't ready for the scares, who's going to be scared on that? And when you are, or you look stunned and have to turn into something else, I'm going to call you that thing that I was pretty sure I caught when I was watching you in your human suit meet around and kind of change your aroma of, it seems Italian, or is that Chinese, or is that mixed vegetables, and a whole lot of what the fuck, because I don't know what it is. All I know is what it isn't. And I go on the what it isn't exclusion criteria, because the what it is very narrow. The what it is very narrow. A responsible, grown-up, integrated human being that's grown up enough and integrated far, far, far all the way out of never started or dropped out of that class entirely, to hook up the brain and the heart. We just don't need that. That's not necessary. We got the program to run us. Cool. We're going to hate it. They'll love it. It'll run us forever. Seems great for one of us. And those of us that play it well, we might even learn how to play it too well enough to get a buck or two off of you. However, the guy at the very bottom of that mess, that's you. If it's you, and when you know it's you, you run, Molly, run. You run. When the little psychic girl says, I see some weird shit behind you, girl, I would run. You might start believing the ones you know are really true, and then they teach you, if they're really good, how to do it for yourself, so you don't have to trust the Akashic record read of some woman who might have a wound that she knows nothing about, that hates women. However, the collective that runs her girl thing will make her a freaking masculine monster that'll either do a Black Widow thing on you or a sweet and sexy, insidious long drain of just competing with you and pushing you behind at the end of the line. Don't worry, babe, I got you next time. Cool. Next time lives next to somewhere in some place. I'm sure I don't remember it when I never got there. So if you work in all of these very vagaries, you're gonna love the next forever that you have eternity to kind of figure out something eventually, because you know where eventually lives? In the bin with the other karmic entropy that dies when it's not properly dealt with, and it is excused from the effing room, violently screeching, squeaking, crying, whining, or draining weights. Today, when I caught hold of where the original source was, oh yeah, I looked at it and said, oh my God, that's you too. That's the other part of you that had to collect up over here and join this over here because it's got its ass blistered over here. Yeah, and if that's the collective that's watching, that's hilarious that you had to find help and come over and get backup, because that's what the third one, the third troop of flying monkeys you have to go through. This kind of 2112 is a little disturbing and a whole lot disgusting. No matter what my personal opinion about it is, I know exactly what the function of the logical side of that is, that in the regular world's world, that would be, oh my God, that's somewhere in someone's mind that's just insane. Yes, you're right, it is somewhere in someone's mind that it's insane, and it lives right here. However, what I have in my mind is what's not insane, and it is currently being built under the people who aren't watching to see that the crystalline grid is pushing all of your bullshit out of the way with me. Because I don't really have to do much of anything except wait for the thing that I turn around in a little space and look and say, I see, we're on a third. Is it really? And then it literally squealed and made some little trough that warthog kind of little hellhound fun thing, whatever it is that AI generated in the freak realms. They're not very crafty. They use all the same dumbass components that, seeing this, it looks like a lot of this is just some AI slop, because that's how scared, messy, and stupid it thinks we are. This system that they built into it that really enjoys from the other side. You might hate the dude that's running the Bozo show. However, Bozo has a handler and, is enjoying his life at the level of misery that he thinks is comfortable, because that's what he's been told to believe. Just like every other fool at every top of every stupid triangle that's a predator triangle and involves people. That's the one where you'll say, oh, programming's got a hold of this one, I better go over here. Oh, programming's got over here. And in my personal case, girl, wow. Guy, wow, if you care, it will happen, and I highly advise, because of that, energy doesn't work as well unless it's in a cluster. That's why they say in a group of 3 or more. Guess what? In a group of 3,000, a group of, I don't know, about 500,000 or a few billion or a few, red or 2 points here and there, blue or 2 points, or a mystery of somewhere, something, a few points, and it's going to sway the vote of what we all think. And unless you throw the absolute whole kink in it and say, yeah, there's no voting system on what I think, there's no consensus on what the group think should be. There's no group. Notice how that just sounds so fun when you say, I don't use should, and yet shouldn't I say it shouldn't be that shouldn't be? And no, what I should say is never say should, because the system can do whatever I want to do. Because if it was going to should anything, it should definitely do what it should think it should to do. I don't know. Do what you think you should, because I'm doing what I know I'm going to do with or without you, and whether you think I should or not is irrelevant, because I ain't shouldn't anything. And somewhere where somebody, something, someday, some woman, some man, something is going to stop me, because so far it's been scary as fuck. I'll give you that one. However, moving with fear, where I know it's safe to move through the fear in fear, means I'm moving through a liminal space. It's really creeping me the hell out, and I'm getting a lot of votes on how many times I should stop. A liminal hallway with demons can really ruin your day if you don't know what the fuck you're dealing with. It can sound like a whole thing when you're moving from one whole entire dimension to another, or an upgrade as severe as the one we're having right now, and will continue to be upgraded. We're in one serious, you wanted this planet to survive? The people that don't care, they just want to survive and they don't care how. They're not working on the next generation stuff. They don't care about yours or theirs. They only care about literally their own little consumption moment, because these programs are running hard on aw shit, and aw shit is running harder and harder and harder as people are waking up and letting their aw shit land right where it needs to. Was the person who created this you? Oh, yeah, well, I'm not going to ask you anymore because you're going to lie and tell me no. And when your little AI monster follows up with something I did in outer space, you do something out here and something else happens in outer space, and I've got to fight it, and something else happens very definitively the very next day. I got all the information I do. See, you're messing around in outer space, those little things making you do stupid things, perhaps in my face or towards my face, or say all those things that suddenly seem quite an odd freaking thing to say out of the middle of nowhere on a contract of something that I don't even know you. That's interesting, though, that it would be you that would have come up in all of that. And the liminal hallway will get you wondering about a whole lot of stuff about, instead of that contract thing, that when we believe there are contracts out there, we certainly can believe it. I'm not telling you not to. If it's going to get you through the door to have to work out a contract, what I would say is that any liminal hallway that I've had to walk in was me moving from one consciousness to another, and anyone where I had a heavy program on me that told me I was stupid, couldn't possibly be true, all this weird shit you do, you're just a crazy person. There's a lot of baggage on that in the karmic, container for all of humanity, for all of the abuse and the persecution of people in general. However, to persecute the weird, the peculiar people, wasn't just some random quote somewhere. 2626 is an 88 that came from the very universal law that is being bastardized everywhere. And when you get a hold of the peculiar ones, we're peculiar because we're not in this system when we got here. A lot of people are bagged up, tagged up, and already systemed in with the shit they were given at birth in about 1,200 iterations of a very solid program, that if by now we're not consciously moving on that, we're going to have more and more trouble. That we're going to lose our body faster than we will lose our ill consciousness that'll keep connecting with it. And either way, we'll lose our body miserable and hating the end, or possibly just marginalizing away. And some of us will be able to say, well, clearly that's not it. However, the people that it's that expendable that they can marginalize away and just have something, hallelujah, amen, because those of us that are fighting for the end times of no planet anywhere ever again in this way, or in this unchoiced, ridiculous evolution we're fighting to remove into an evolution and out of the destruction and chaos and complete collapse of the entire planet. We're moving that out of that, from into that new place called new consciousness. And it's happening on every level, that it's happening every day that you go through a liminal hallway and tell someone to, take that right on back with what that was you offered me, and offer it right back to yourself times 10. And if you want to come back and talk to me ever again, you'll know exactly, with all the fury and the passion, all that love you're sending to me, I want you to go on home with all of that and do it right back to you, okay? Call me when you're ready sometime to do exactly what you said you wanted to do someday with me. That's not going to get the immediate, finger in the face unless it's got something real ugly attached to it that's being said. However, if people only know the stupid shit they're going through because of some program that sometimes I don't do the demon thing, so they really don't crawl in or cast in or come jumping in or hopping in. It's something weird and stupid like that, because it's just so preposterous to me. That thing that came snarling in like that, it was an interesting distraction to what was behind it. Was just a wall of figures, couldn't even come filling in enough to create space for themselves to look like something other than a whole bunch of we're bad. Well, you're bad and you're mad. However, you having some damage and some time on deck with doing some shit in my house, that's no. I don't care what you are. Just by look alone, stank, and that smell that you all get the decay. And that was the one that gave it away, was that when I saw the face in the decay, I usually smell it on the person when they're there. However, when we're into a whole new level of operations, temps oppo pick up, baby, or ops tempo picked up to presto, we're on the move to go, oh shit, we got a technique up, because some bitches can smell us. Some dudes know when we're coming. And then they insert the program, hey, right there. And you know what? Some of us are still going to hurl and smell it later in space and be able to put it all together, and we'll never see your face again. Because that's what the peculiar people who are peculiar for a reason, we're listening to another channel and we don't care what yours says most of the time. They call it autism in my world, but they would have called it something else in another world, like a mystic or a hermit or somebody you should put on a stick and do some lighting up and roasting your really ill wieners on or over. Except you wouldn't be that kind of a man or a woman to stand up that tall for your principle. But Joan of Arc was, and we got some demons super mad that the women who are willing to stand up in that energy, especially those ones living in men that need to stand up to those women who are trying to be some Joan of Arc shit on an archetype they don't really feel, but they'll take the fire with it and use your drill and then put you on the fire when they're done with it. Thank you. We can't use this pyre forever, only until Joan is gone, and we can only set her up and get much out of her a few times before we're going to need to just get us going with a new Jane. We're going to need another Jane, Timmy. We're going to need another one. And that's the most disgusting and vile concept that I can wrap my whole body and mind around, so I don't embrace an idea that is that hateful, horrible, and that I know is just no reason to understand the intricacies of the relationships I created and the patterns that we're still trying to karmically bag out of my life. I'm super glad that I don't have a whole lot living in me from 1,000 other lifetimes that I think I gotta unload around me for me. Because when you walk through those liminal hallways and stop scooping up little scavenger bits of bullshit off a map that somebody else gave you from outer space when you can do it yourself, if you care to. I personally turned my library card in idea and said, you know what, this has never hung with me. And then I saw the cosmic, chariot riding through space, taking people on their cosmic read records. See, I can't even say it because it isn't right in my soul with that particular person anyway, for this very reason, that chariot rides through space, that this particular cosmic guide and, imperial goddess of the space world that wants you to make sure you got your Akashic record read right quick. Right about now with her daemon intact, she might, with all that preening and some fussy looking stuff on that woman, and this is not a judgment of the woman's look or how a woman should. I don't have one of those. That should button, every time it jumps up, I go ahead and bang it on the head and get a Diet Coke and throw it to the east and say thanks anyway. And then I waste the Diet Coke and the button, skip it, because I don't need that shit. Just cast it out and say, never mind, I don't want that, and take the bad idea. Because what a woman should be doing is in the program wondering what another woman is doing to make her look better, or how I can find something that obviously makes her worse. So when I can't see beauty, and I can't feel beauty, and I can't share beauty, that's my measurement for gotta go. When you're not able to share a limelight you can't fill on your own, you're either not talented to be where you're standing, talented enough, or you're outshining it and they're shutting your shit down. Not your light, just the focus of the spotlight in a very other direction. But bang, bang, bang might be, where you want to hang with the information is right over here. Where you might want to put your eye. I like to put my eye where everybody's looking and then look somewhere else. Oh, where's everybody looking? Cool. What's somewhere else? Because the natural world's going to let me know. Works in astral too. Works in outer space, works here, works everywhere. Did you run the same principle? If I run on a program that I designed with my own navigation system that uses me and my mind and my heart, my team and my stream, all to my benefit from me, exclusively to do the precious, peculiar work of God's people that I came here to do without being run over, defiled, and ruined or snotted on or jealousy dead because some old hoe somewhere wearing a man suit, a girl suit, a mean suit, 3333, that Jesus was a very noble man. However, I'm not such a noble woman that I'm willing to take a Judas hit for you if you're wearing something that has no hope of ever coming back here and becoming something human that could actually function in a non-transhumanistic world. Looks like we're getting really close to not having it. However, I'm going to say stick out the current battle, because my little princesses who like to go around in space are just not part of the whole battle. Apparently, they're zooming around, reading your records, giving you the possibility that you might get an exploited read that's being hopped in on someone who might be real precious and super close to being all the way done with a whole lot of precious stuff. But that's one of the least, is to drive around in real personal records without securing who your driver is. And on those ideas of listening to tarot, me, anybody else, I have great ideas. I think they're fantastic and they work for me. However, another person walks away, I don't worry about why. I assume they're making the choice that a grown-up makes for themselves, and if they're making it for childish reason, I'm a grown-up, and I didn't give a shit when one of my children got, pouty about something that this is going to be done, because it's a no. You don't have any latitude or gratitude on why you don't want to, and there ain't no bullshit story why you're not showing up here. This is a hard, fast no and a pass on whatever reason you're trying to, gas the lighter here with that fuel of just bullshit on a must do. On the ones that can vary, I vary with people, but when you snatch someone into a must do because they're causing harm of some kind, that's a child that's got some problems. And when they're old and we give them room, when they're a child and they look like one of the people that I've seen in my life a few times as a whole grown-ass adult, if I see that in a child, I'm going to wonder what the hell happened at their house. And then I'm going to be met with the same answer I have for me, which is the same entities or the same attachments can be downloaded literally into very easy, malleable minds. What way would you like it to take? Would you like to leave your high-powered, defense mechanisms lying around? Would you like to leave the porn? Would you like to leave the violent, drug scene? Would you like to act like you're a trap house for the devil? Because I don't believe in the devil either. However, the people that do, guess where they go when they need you? To be worried and scared and possibly wondering if you're going to be saved by a man coming down a whole golden escalator. See, I can't even say it, because when Jesus was coming back, he didn't say he wasn't coming in style, and by now he certainly would have gotten a raise. That's really rooted in some very fundamental, real small thinking that reminds me something of the ABC primers I touched once a long time ago before I got to kindergarten. So, when you can't possibly believe the translation's good enough to understand a pattern, that's the one you created, that would not be the logical first one that anyone would create without having a whole lot of influence about you, how you track that being the pattern, to not notice, but to notice it as a good thing, and that Jesus is in fact a coming. And when you listen to the interviews that I stopped listening to because it was a waste of my time to do that, I was busy becoming one of those space cadets wondering why this contract's not going anywhere. Not ruining my life or anything, small portion of my life, however, okay, stall me out because you've got some issues with feminine energy, which is the wounding that we're working on. However, that stuff gets real janky, and I don't remember what I was saying, but my dog just let me know that it's time to go. So, and after 37 minutes, in heaven the hell is. So, up, down, rooter to the tutor, bring in the heaven to the earth, and meet that stuff right there in your heart, and you got the coherence of cosmic intelligence. Your heart mind goes into the cosmic mind, which is the divine mind, and not your own. It has to pass through a few hundred bazillion, endless it seems, liminal hallways every once in a while to get there. But if you keep going, you do. Even when it pisses you off and people like me smile and say, yeah, yesterday I wanted to hurt people, and I didn't go outside because I knew that, and because I didn't want to hurt people, I didn't go outside or let them hurt me by being that vulnerable, knowing that that shit is living on everybody that's willing to take a grumbly moment on and just hop into my world because I'm feeling vulnerable and attacked. Oh yeah, well then stay at home where you're not even going to be vulnerable to trying to explain to yourself why and how and blah blah blah. Poor choice is all, or better choice could be made, and I choose to go with poor choice not being my first words and better choice always, what's my best choice for what the hell I can be doing when I feel this, like this. And the way to know that is to have already known what the cannibal thing was doing, the astrology, where we were headed with the 7-7 portal, and how I and my body feel. And when I start feeling and seeing in space the way I feel when I see certain people, doesn't matter if it matches up face or not, I'm out. So 38, yep, there it is, which is at 11:11. Divine alignment is here. Jump on in it, even if you have the fear. Move through the fear by moving through those smallest parts of liminal hallways, and you start conquering some of those liminal hallways. And I do mean conquer those. I mean stomp that stuff, slam the door, and burn the back of you, send a and explode it as you go, with the intention that only blows off all the entities and the malware, and that's a cleansing. There you go. There's your anti-malware. And that's exactly what I mean, because anybody that I'm ever talking about in their human form, I don't want to see anything bad to them. Shit, something already did. They wouldn't let themselves be helped, and there's a reason for that, because that's a miserable way to be. I was all kinds of attached in somebody else's robot, just like a lot of people I see. So, it's sad. And yet, if somebody had thrown me that rope, baby, I'd have been on it, jumped out, and swam to shore, and rather have died before it was all over with, and was given 3 or 4 chances on a floor. Just recently to try it again. Almost. Got to that pre-feeling of, ruh-roh, I think I feel incoming, and said, oh, let me bolster up with, what I do when I bolster up to do what I do, which is nothing I'll ever tell anyone, because it changes from every single time to the next. So take care of yourselves, and I'll see you again next time. And if you're still here, hey, thanks for hanging in. Bye-bye.